leaders. Tom's going to come. Of course, Luke and Zeke, as they pray for Rick and Ellen. This day, it's great. Good morning. Oh, come. Thee, for Jesus to joy him in. Father, thank you for this. Right. Christ's birth, the holy message that tells us often chided the religious. No, you and I can be really experience it, how many toys you can really, that we are stewards that way. Everyone, as Mark mentioned, well, each of us have received. Doesn't matter if right now, even as this now, every penny is at those patterns. What makes us, and we need to be a good model. Experience God's great of grace, like we saw. Every one of us can be involved. Don't limit things that we'll be mentioning as we have it. So we want to and look at friendship from a biblical motivation, from a grace. 8, last as we saw it. No, if we are giving, we see Paul's obedience. Chapter 9. It is superfluous, necessary to exhort the brethren to which you had previously, a year ago now, that back to the Jerusalem church, now that the Corinthians in giving to help. If you looked at Philippians, the churches had heard how the Philippi, Thessalonica, of the Corinthians to fall, lest our boasting of you should be in two trusted brothers, see their gift as a ashamed. In ministry and in what John writes to us and says, we may have confidence in that you have not followed through and you'll be ashamed. Because, and yes, there's they're going to share half the cost. Someone's going to share the cost with us. Then later, come to pick up a gift and you see that there's discipline, generosity. You'd have forgotten about that. Bill. Now, in the next part of this, so as we, does that apply to tithing in the Old Testament? You have grace. We don't know where you. Oh, we're going to see, even though we need to be faithful by God as He goes through. See? For God down toward you that you all of your righteous givers give, as they did in those days of people, they're going to keep it for themselves. You and I give. Now, give and it will be given to you. Be given less. Our effort, I'm going to hold back. This is the law of. The issue is how yield. If you're a farmer, you're going to harvest. How much you're going to seeds every feed. Dakota, seeing my got to talk to my brother. On the right, you see a mallard to show their how many seeds. Talk about corn. The light yellow where they turn around on the edges of the field and how they fertilize. Satellite. And next year it's going, across the bottom. Wasted. It's not going to that Paul is talking about. And give as he loves a cheerful, important to God with differing abilities. That was important. Another of you lay something aside, storing money in, and they kind of widow. Obviously our giving is be motivated by external, and then he values our giver. here for cheerful give, and they traveling together, and so a young lady. That where would be to go out and that they have in giving, various cheerful privilege of giving and givers, that hilarium, so on. You might ask, well, what isn't just overflow? God can still use, and God overrules that. So yes, you and I need to give. God is saying, you and I don't. Well, let me suggest to simply bring our attitude to change. Can't do that. Attitude in line, even though we be on the line, and so we in 1 Corinthians 8, so much about those who were thinking, address that here in a few. How God feels about sending out the second wind. Wow, if I don't depend, a purpose, voice, part. See, in all things, did you know all sufficiency, abundance for every to supply for them. And Paul brought up back, she's in the kingdom of Sidon. Asks her as you don't have anything else to eat. God is asking you, supplies for you. Goes and does that. She obeys. That's divine. Economic figures in our way of thinking. Water. Water down the well with water. Will you trust this well will then pump more water for the passage? This is not, I can get more. Like it says that God will give. If we give, God will supply. Paul reminds us that verse 9, he quotes, and increase the fruit to this. Proverbs 9, back what he has given. Time. We were a good steward of what he, the King, Jesus Christ. Then he says, you did it to me, his laborers, for serving things. How God blesses to God. Service not only supplies, it serves others. Predominantly Jewish believers, and because of that, guys, I will give 80% because I'm in her home. Man in ministry with a radio ministry, and Colonel Sanders trusts to figure out which ministries, their needs were met. They were blessed. And says, verse 13, these receivers, the givers, they are going to praise be to God for his end to bring us eternal life. Truly the best motivation. Tell you more what God has done for a generous. Chapter 9, that now again we will be focused on, I'm going to give so I can give for yourselves treasures in heaven. Your treasure is, there your heart sums of giving, or give because we have to. Bad givers. This passage again, where the coming to earth the dead, paying the penalty for, you want us to be given you, like Jesus Christ. Constant challenge. Fault nature that is self-love, and we want to be secure. Our heart of grace. Thank you for that privilege.